everybody, welcome back to Crochet by Landry. This week we're going to work on 2 more ornaments to add to the collection of ornaments that we've been working on for our calendar blanket. And those 2 ornaments are going to be the holly and the gift. So grab your Caron Simply Soft yarn. For the holly, you're going to need the red and the green or the chartreuse. And for your present, you're going to need 2 colors, one for the gift and one for the bow that goes on the gift. So grab your 5mm hook and your pattern off of yarnspirations.com if you're following along with me. And let's get started making holly and a gift. Let's get started making the next 2 ornaments on our calendar blanket. And the next ones are going to be the holly and the gift. So grab your pattern from yarnspirations.com, and I'll put the link down below in case you don't have it, and grab it and follow along with me. And the materials you're going to need are a 5mm hook, some scissors, and a yarn needle, and of course your yarn. The 2 colors I'm going to be using for both the holly and the gift are going to be the green and a red. And then for the gift, you're going to need 2 colors as well. You can either use the green and the red like me, or you can use colors B and J, which work out to be, the 2 colors, they work out to be robin's egg and gold, if those are your 2 colors that you prefer to work with for your gift. So grab your supplies and let's get started making holly and a gift. Okay, we're gonna get started making the leaves for the holly, and we're gonna make 2 like this. So what we're gonna do to get started is we're gonna make a slip knot to begin. Okay, and then we're gonna chain 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we're going to put a single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and then we're going to do a half double crochet in the next one after that. Then in the next chain we're going to put 3 stitches. So first one's going to be a half double crochet, then the next one is a double crochet in that same chain, then another half double crochet in that same space. Okay, then we're going to put a single crochet in the next chain after that, and then we're just going to repeat those same 3 stitches we just did. So half double crochet, then a double crochet, oops, and then another half double crochet. That's 3 stitches in 1 chain. Then we're going to do is in this next stitch, we're going to do 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then the next stitch, we're going to do a half double crochet. Okay, and now we're going to start turning the corner and going on the rear side here. So what you're going to do is in this, because where your half double crochet is right here. So what you're going to do is in the space where you did those 3 single crochets, is you're going to do the 3 stitches we just did. So one of them is a half double crochet, then a double, oops, try not to, there you go, then a double crochet, and then a half double crochet. So what you're doing is we're working on the back side of your chain. So just try to remember where your stitches were when you put them in, and do your best. I know it's a little tricky, but then the next one we're going to do is we're going to do a single crochet in the next back side of the chain, and then we're going to do those same 3 stitches again. So half double crochet, then a double crochet, and then another half double crochet. So that's 3 stitches in one. Then it's going to be 2 single crochets in the next space that you chained. And then all you're going to do now is find that first single crochet you did at the beginning of the round and just join with a slip stitch to chain 1 now. And then we're just going to fasten off, trim our yarn, just push the green to the side. And there you have your 2 leaves for your holly. And if you want, you can grab your yarn needle and weave in your ends now so you don't have to do it later. And then just trim your end. That way you're making your project neat and tidy as you go versus waiting till the end, but it's up to you. It's your project. You're the one working on it, so you can do them now or do them later. Totally up to you. There is your 2 holly leaves, and now what we're going to do is we're going to work on the little red berry that goes on top. Okay, so now we're going to work on the little red berry part that goes with our holly. So what you want to do is you want to do a slip knot and chain 2 to begin. So chain 1, chain 2. Now what you're going to do is you're going to put 6 single crochets in that second chain from your hook. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then now what you want to do is find that first single crochet that you made and join with a slip stitch to close off your round and your little red berry. And then you're just gonna leave a little bit of a tail to sew it onto your project. Not too bad. Pull your tail through. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna weave in this little shorter tail so it's not in my way when I go to sew it on my project and sew my my holly together. Just so it's a little bit easier. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to sew the 2 holly leaves and the berry together. So like it's shown in your picture. Okay, and it's going to be kind of like this. Okay, I'm just going to like that. I'm going to start by sewing one on, and then I'll sew the other one on after. And I'm just going to put the berry on top, kind of like on the edge, and then just kind of go from back to front. As best I can. Just sew it on, and try to make it as invisible as I can. Sorry if I'm going off camera here. I'm just trying to see what I'm doing. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is grab my other leaf, try to find a spot to put it, and then I'm going to stitch it on from the back so that way it kind of looks like the picture as best as I can here. Okay. You will be sewing on your little loop part too as well after this. Doesn't have to be perfect, but try your best to make it so you can't see the stitch that you're using. Okay, and then I'm going to try and just kind of weave this end in so you can't see it. I'm just going to weave it in on the back side. Okay. I'm just going to trim. There we go. there's the holly. And now what we're going to do is to make the loop, and we're going to make it with our color 1, which is our green. You're going to do a slip knot. Okay, and a chain of 9. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then you're going to fasten it off. Trim your end a little bit. Don't make it too long. Just long enough so you can sew it onto your project. Okay, and now we're going to stitch it onto the back of the holly. So what we're going to do is just find a place where you want to put it. I'm going to try and sew it kind of in between here. That, and then I'm going to do the same thing with this one, and then I'm going to do it going the opposite way. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is take both ends and I'm going to take them on the back, and I'm just going to tie them in a knot, a double knot, to make sure that they're secure. And then I'm going to weave in the ends so they're hidden. And I'll trim the ends as well. Okay. So now we can weave in the ends. So just find a spot to weave them in under the stitches. That's one. And then last one. Okay. Trim both ends. Without cutting your project would be a good idea. Okay, and there is the first ornament. There is the holly. So let's grab our 2 colors for our gift, and let's get started on our little present. Okay, so let's get started making the gift. And you're going to need your 2 colors. I'm just going to reuse the red and the green that I used for the holly, but you can use any 2 colors you want for your gift. You need one for the bow and then one for the little square as well. So we're going to start with the main piece, and we're going to end up making 2. So what you're going to do is you're just going to make 2 little squares, and you're going to chain 9 to begin. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oops. And 9. Then in this, for the first row, in the second chain from the hook, you're just going to put 1 single crochet, and then you're just going to repeat that. So just 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way across. Okay, 1 in each all the way to the end, and you should have 8 by the time you reach the end. Then for row 2, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and you're just going to repeat what you just did. 1 stitch in each. You should have 8 in total. Okay, 1 stitch in each. There we go. And then you're just going to repeat row 2 until your piece is about 2 1/4 inches or 5.5 centimeters tall. So it shouldn't take you very long, only a couple of rows. But once you've finished making your piece about 2 1/4 inches, I will meet back with you and we'll make the ribbon and the rest of the present together. Okay, once you've reached the end of your 5.5 centimeter square, if you want, you can get a measuring tape out and measure your piece to make sure it's 5.5. Once you get there, you're just going to fasten off by chaining 1, trimming your yarn. Now you're going to leave a little bit of a tail for sewing, and enough to sew all around, like all 4 sides of your little square. So I think that'll be more than enough. More is always better. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to weave in this little tail right here, so it's not in my way when I go to sew the project together. That's just what I like to do. Whatever, you know, you like to do is up to you. If you want to just leave it and stuff it in the project when you're done. And we will need a little bit of stuffing to stuff this after we're done. So there's the two squares that I told you. So you have to make 2 of them. And they're gonna be the same size. So I have one with a tail and one with no tails, so it's easier to sew. But let's put this aside and we're gonna start making the bow. And I'm just gonna use this red that I have here so you can see. But like I said, you can use any color combination that you have for the yarn that you have for this project. For the bow, what we're gonna do is for your second color, you're gonna start with a slip knot and chain 7 to begin. Okay, so chain 7, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. Try not to let your hook slip out, because if you do, you got to go back and count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 5, 6, and 7. And then in the, let's see here. So what you do for the first row is in the 3rd chain from your hook, you're going to do a half double crochet. So first chain on your hook doesn't count, so it's going to be, that's 1, 2, so the 3rd one is right here. You're going to yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, so you have 3 on your hook, then yarn over and pull through all 3. That's a half double crochet. And then what you're going to do is you're going to do 1 half double crochet in each chain to the end of that. So that was 1. We'll make another one. So that's 2. That's 3. That's 4. And that's 5. Okay. So then what we're going to do is we're going to turn our work. We're going to do a chain 2 and turn. The chain 2, it doesn't count as a stitch, so keep that in mind going forward. So in the first stitch, we're going to do a half double crochet, which is right where that chain 2 comes out of. Remember, it doesn't count as a stitch. Okay, and then what we're going to do is 1 half double crochet in each to the end of the row, still remaining at 5. That's 2. That's 3. 4, and last one, 5. Okay, and then what we're going to do is you're going to fasten off, so just chain 1 to fasten off. Okay, and then what you're going to do now is snip your yarn. Now I don't know if you need a tail, so I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail just in case, and if not, you can always sew it in, snip it later. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a little bit of this red and we're going to wrap it around the middle of the bow. Now, before I do that, I'm going to weave in some of these tails here just to kind of get them out of my way. So it turns out we don't need this. So I'm just going to weave them in just to get them out of my way. Plus it'll make my bow a little bit neater as well. Okay. Plus it's always good to weave in your ends as you go. Less work to do later. I find anyways. That's just me. But if you like weaving in ends, then save them to the end. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to grab a little bit of yarn here. Just enough. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to wrap the yarn around the middle of the bow here. So I'm just going to maybe pinch it with my fingers, and then I'm just going to leave a little bit of a tail, and I'm just going to start wrapping gently a couple of times. Okay. Just wrap it enough so it starts to look like a bow. So I'll show you that again. So it's a little rectangle. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of pinch it together with my fingers and then just set my yarn in place. And I'm just going to kind of hold that with my fingers as I wrap. And I'm just going to wrap enough times so it can stay in one place. And then it starts to look like a little bow. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tie these two ends that I've got here in a double knot so they stay in place. Because there's nothing more annoying when you're doing something like this and then it comes undone on you and then you have to start all over again. So I'm just going to do a double knot just to be on the safe side. That way I know it's not going to come undone. And there's the little bow. So what we're going to do now is we're going to sew it onto the front of our little gift here. So you're going to need your yarn needle for this. Okay. Okay, and we're just gonna, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place my bow and I'm gonna go in through the project because we're gonna be sewing these two little squares together, so you're not gonna see this. Okay, try not to lose your end here. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna try to go through. There we go. And then I'm going to take this one and I'm just going to do what I just did. And then I'm going to double knot it on the inside as well, so I know it's not coming out. So I'm just going to push it through here. Okay, and I'm just going to take these two ends and again, double knot it so I know she ain't coming loose. And I'll just take these two ends. I'm just going to trim them a little shorter. That way they're not in my way. And there is your little bow on your gift. Okay. And what we're going to do now is we're going to, with the bow facing out to us, take our tail from our green and we're going to sew both of those little squares together. Okay. So we're going to sew both of these little squares together. So make sure your bow's on the outside. And then you're just going to go in through one piece and come out through the other. And then just go in through that first piece and out through the other. And you're just going to just do it all along the edges. And pulling your tail snug as you go. Not too snug. You don't want to pull too tight, because if you pull too tight, then the yarn's going to snap. And if you pull too tight in some spots and not in the others, then it's just going to look weird and lopsided. So try to make sure your tension is as even as you can. Take your time. And you're just going to keep going all the way around till you get back to where you started. And when you get back to where you started, I'll show you what to do next, and we'll make the little loop that goes on it as well. All right, I'm almost done sewing up the four sides of the gift here. So I'm just going to take a second, and I'm going to actually add just a little bit of stuffing here. Just a little bit, not too much. You don't want it popping out of the sides or whatever. So, and then I'm just going to finish sewing as best I can here. And then we're going to make the loop that goes on the top, one of the top corners. Here we go. Okay. Now, when you get to the top corner where you started, I'm just going to put my yarn needle through one of the corners, and I'm going to start to pull, but I'm not going to pull the tail all the way through. I'm going to leave a little bit of a loop, and I'm going to stick my yarn needle through it and then pull. If you sew, then this might be one of those techniques you've seen before where sewing you're basically adding a knot. And then when I'm done, I'm just going to put the yarn needle through the project somewhere, have it come out on whatever side, and then I'm just going to trim the end. Okay, that's the present part. So let's take a second and make the loop that goes on top of the corner. So you're going to do a slip knot to begin, and again, a chain 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then you're going to snip. Okay, and then you're going to sew it on to one of the top corners. If you want, you can just put 2 ends through in 2 different places and then tie a knot and then weave those ends in. That's fine. However you want to sew this on is completely up to you. You just want to sew it on and then weave the ends in so they're not sticking out. I'm just going to do that now. I just tied it in a double knot, and then I'm going to stick them inside here. I'll trim them off in a second. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to trim both these off. 1, 2. There we go. And that is our present and our holly. And that's it for today, everybody. We added 2 more ornaments to the collection for our calendar blanket that we're working on this year. We added the holly and the gift, which is great. So stay tuned in coming months for the remaining pieces of our calendar blanket. And I can't wait to see what it looks like when we're all finished. And I can't wait to use it with my kids this year. So don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button and the notification bell. And don't forget, leave a comment down below if there's any ideas of things you want to see for videos, or ideas if you want to see for things you want to see me make in the coming weeks. And I have another market coming up, or actually 2 big markets coming up in the following weeks, so I'll keep you posted on those. And I'll see everybody next Friday. Bye, everybody.